Can the government arrest you for criticizing it? The First Amendment says absolutely not. Hi, I'm Matt Hasquin. I'm a history teacher, and I want to talk to you about the freedom of speech as it relates to the First Amendment. And so let's go ahead and tell the story here. In 1791, just 4 years after the U.S. Constitution was ratified, the Bill of Rights was adopted. And the very first line of that brand new document began with a bold promise. Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. Now, there's 5 effective guarantees of freedom under the First Amendment. The freedom of speech, of press, of petition, of assembly, and the freedom to worship as you see fit when it comes to religion. Now, what does it exactly mean when we come back to Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech? Well, to the founding fathers, the freedom of speech just wasn't this lofty ideal. Instead, it was a direct reaction to life under British rule, where criticizing the king or the government could land you in jail or worse. And, after all, we've seen colonial newspapers shut down. Dissenting voices were silenced. So when building a new nation, the founders made sure that such tyranny wouldn't happen again. Now, if we fast forward to the 20th century and we see the United States starting to grapple with the real limits of this freedom, well, let's start in World War I. During World War I, there was a man named Charles Schenck, and he was distributing pamphlets outside of a courthouse urging men to resist the draft. The government had him arrested under the Espionage Act, and that was a case that went all the way to the Supreme Court. And in Schenck v. United States in 1919, Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes famously wrote that the most stringent protection of free speech would not protect a man in falsely shouting fire in a theater and causing a panic. The court upheld Schenck's conviction, and in their decision, creating the clear and present danger test, which was a legal balancing act between individual liberty and national security. But the boundaries of speech kept evolving. In 1969, in the case Brandenburg v. Ohio, the court reversed course and ruled that even inflammatory speech, like that of a KKK leader, was protected unless it incited imminent lawless action. That distinction between speech and actual harm became critical in defining how far our freedoms would extend. And even symbolic speech, like burning a flag or wearing an armband, those have been upheld as protected under the First Amendment as well. In Tinker v. Des Moines in 1969, students who wore black armbands to protest the Vietnam War were told by school officials to take them off. The Supreme Court sided with the students, stating, "It can hardly be argued that either students or teachers shed their constitutional rights to the freedom of speech or expression at the schoolhouse gate." But not all speech is protected. There are 5 main categories that fall outside the umbrella of First Amendment protection, and those are obscenity, defamation, incitement to violence, fighting words, and true threats. So while you can criticize the government, you can protest in the streets or post your opinions online, there are still limits when that speech causes real, direct harm. Today, the internet has stretched the conversation even further. Social media platforms, unlike governments, are private companies, and that means your First Amendment rights don't apply to getting banned or fact-checked if you go on Facebook or YouTube or TikTok. The First Amendment protects you from government censorship, not moderation by private business. And in modern times, we see the power of free speech in action, from movements like Me Too or Black Lives Matter to whistleblowers and investigative journalism. In every generation, Americans test the strength of that single sentence. Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. Why does it matter? The First Amendment's protection of speech is what allows a free society to thrive. It ensures that dissenting opinions can be heard, abuses of power can be challenged, and cultural revolutions can take place without fear of government retaliation. Freedom of speech isn't about protecting the popular. It's about defending the controversial. It's a safety valve, a tool of resistance, and a cornerstone of democracy. So, freedom of speech isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. It empowers us to speak, but also to listen, to think critically, and to stand up for those whose voices are being silenced. So, picked up something today? Great. I'd appreciate a like, a comment, a follow, a share, a question, for more things that you should know by being alive, because knowing your rights helps protect them for everyone. Thank you for watching.